Morning, everybody. Rusty from the Rusty Razor. Have another shave of the day for you, and today we're going to be delving into something that kind of different, but it's old one, but a goodie. It's Stirling's Agar. It has a really rich, spicy, kind of smoky scent to it, but it's kind of, well, I guess what the agar is a mold that they injected into trees and turns into, and then turn it into a scent. And this is all that's left of this. It's like, yeah, I was like, I bought one of those pucks, like refill pucks, and this is all that's left of it. It's how much I've used it over the years. But it's very rich, spicy, just kind of pungent. And I think I got one more use left in this thing. And when you lather it up, you get more, that wood aspect comes out of it. And then there's a kind of, like I said, a smoky, the smoke kind of scent comes to the fore. Even though I don't think it's has anything to do with burnt wood. But it's there. And we're also going to be using the 1983 Black Beauty. This is the one I bought in the store way back in the day. And with some Voskhod blades. This is, I think, the third use of these Voskhods. I have to think about it. I think it's third. I've been kind of wandering around, aimlessly lost in the woods. And we're also going to be doing with Avon Wild Country. Kind of a nice little scent. Something to overpower. Oh, that smells so good. I just love Wild Country from Avon. If you like Panati Clubman, Wild Country is that on steroids. It's a lot more richer, stronger flavor. Just put it that way. All right, we do have some moisture on the fish now. There we go. Let's get started. All right. And it does lather. This is like I use about a quarter size amount, and it's a little slightly drippy, not bad. So it lathered up really nice. This is all. I've only had one Stirling soap over the time so far that it didn't do a job. I think it was just a bad batch or something. Mr. Miyagi, paint the fence. Alright. That scent is coming across as that, like I said, spicy with a slight smoky aspect to it that I have coming in. Alright, we have, this is on setting 4. Alright. Feel that blade. Ooh. Kind of caught there. Yeah, this razor I picked up in 1983. It's right after graduating from high school. I got my first job working in a button factory. My job was what they call a lugger, and take this polymer right. Ooh, yeah, just took off the tip of my scar. I'm gonna put this on setting 3. Tone this thing down a bit, and yeah, that's better. like my job was to go through and lug the big giant strips of resin that is flexible. And I would carry it in from where the drums are, and because they would put the resin in the circular drum and go around. It's really fast. Like, imagine a wash machine, an upright wash machine that's on spin cycle. That's how fast that was going around. And they would take the resin, pour it in, and it would just form inside the thing, and then it'd run for a certain period of time. And then when it was done, I would go in and cut it out put a slice through it and peel it right out. And it was pretty easy, actually. And I would carry this into the next room, and where they had, it's like one of my buddies from high school, two of them actually, were working in the cook room. They had a dye machine that they'd set the dye up. One of my friends was working in the dye. It would feed it through and had a punch, like set dyes, and would punch through and cut them up into shape, and then they would go into this big bin, and my other friend would pick them up and put them into these cookers, which were kind of like boil them, basically. They heat them up, and the result was they would then put them into these tubs with their size and what they are, with labels, and at the end of their shift, we'd wheel them all down to the where they had another set of machines where if you seen the shapes and stuff, you look at a button, they have different kinds of shapes and holes and everything. And they put in this big bin in this dye machine, and it would go around, circling around, and they go, and then a little drill like thing would come out and drill the holes or shape them, kind of like a router like effect. So it was my very first job. I was making $3.15 an hour. Yeah. That was the 1983. And you'd work like we had, we did the 3 to 11 shift. Or actually, it was like 3:30, I think. Plus, we had a half an hour lunch break to kick back. Yeah. So you'd work 8 hours, and you didn't make much. But that was the 80s. And I did that for about a year, and then I got a job working for Heinz USA. The ketchup guys. So those individuals, they started off working on the lines there, and I was like, wow, I'm big money now. I started making about $8 an hour. Yeah, that was a major increase in pay. And you'd work all week to make around $300. Yeah. But it wasn't that bad. They worked around my schedule. I was going to college too, community college this time. So it wasn't like it was a major thing, but you know, I was working 40 to 60 hours a week while going to school at the same time. It was so I did that for about 4 years while going to school, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, or end up becoming figured out I want to be a geologist. But yeah, I seen some interesting things. It's like when you first started working at Heinz, working on the line, you know, it's like you've seen all the different ways that 57 sauce and ketchup, all the different packets are made and containers. And like one of my first jobs was standing at the end of the line where the bottles, you know, it used to be, you know, Heinz ketchup come in bottles. My job was to just stand there, take the bottles, they would be in the box upside down, and my job was to take the box, flip it over, pick up the box and put it on a different line, because the box would go down to the other end, and then it would be used to, same box would be used to they call it filled back up after the filled product. So it was one of those deals where you'd have the let me tell you, learning that little trick of the flip without breaking them, that was the cool thing. But you know, I did figure it out. It took about an hour really getting it down. But once you did it, you were on autopilot. But I seen some. Eventually, when they realized I was going to college, they was like, well, they moved me into being a quality control inspector. Like, geez, somebody with a science, working on a science degree, it's like, they wanted that. And that was a major increase in pay. I started making $11 an hour. I was like, wow, I'm making $11 an hour. Let me tell you, $11 an hour in the 80s was a lot of money. Yeah, I may balk at it now. It's like, but I'm just, it's crazy. Like I'm seeing, I'm having a flashback to the 80s now. Today's, what's going on today. Wow, it's just massive inflation and everything. But I won't get into that. But one of the coolest things I seen was they have, it's like the tomato paste would come in out of California on rail cars. So you got these big giant crates with a like a aluminum foil bladder inside, and they would stack them up on these big giant racks. You know, we're talking big racks, metal racks, and fork truck driver would come along and raise this thing up, fork it, bring it out, and then move it on, and it would take this black box, crack open the box, and then they put the, it would be up on a platform that had a lift on it, and it go, and they'd cut open up the bladder. They'd have little eyelets on it, would put the 2 hooks into it, little cables, and turn around, and all the tomato paste would go into this giant vat, and then they would add all the spices and everything. And then be taken, down the line. But one night, since I was a quality control inspector, I would go from line to line. Just, I'd take samples on all the different lines, and then run it, run the numbers and see everything's copacetic. And I seen that this fork truck driver wasn't paying much attention to what he was doing. He was carrying a big crate on it, of paste. We're talking huge. These things are. It wouldn't even fit in my room. That's how big these are. It would fit this way, but this way it would not. It was like a big old square cube. And he wasn't paying attention what he was doing. And he clipped the metal rack. And I was like, oh, crap. I was like, step back. All of a sudden, I just watch this. And this whole rack with all these crates on it just go, just land. And one of them landed right on, they had the cage around the fork truck. And it landed on those. And they just went off like a bomb. Tomato paste everywhere. And he's sitting there. He stops. And you just see him. He's just covered in paste. He's like, arr. And he just stops the vehicle, hops out, and he's kind of like, oh no. That was hilarious. Let me tell you, I was like, all right. I'm looking at it, and I walk over to the phone booth. The little phones everywhere for communication. And I got a hold of the main supervisor for the shift, and I'm like, oh, we had a disaster over here. We lost a bunch of crates of tomato paste over here in pork butt truck. And he's like, what? Basically, a whole shift's worth of tomato paste just went all over the place. He comes out there and looks at it and goes, oh. Needless to say, the driver got some remedial training and safety. Oh, that was one of the cool things. Yeah, it was like one way to weed out the people, new individuals that see if you really wanted the job or not. But you'd throw them, you have those big giant tankers that would carry in stuff, and hot as hell. You'd send a new guy in, a little hose. After everything drained out of it, their job would be to hose it out and clean out the tanker. I seen guys halfway through their shift would just like drop the gear and throw the stuff down and walk out and never be seen again. They had enough. They're like, nope, I'm done. smooth shave. Not feeling that mist anywhere. Other than that, 2 spots. Already feeling the stinging. It's chin and right here. 2 usual suspects. Alrighty. Little time for gosh, I just like to smell this stuff. A little bit of Wild Country. And there is stinging right here, that's what is open. A little bit right through here, but that's okay. I'm used to that. Wow, the whole room is suddenly filling up with, it's a spicy. So that was Avon Wild Country. Got that scent coming off here from the Agar and that Wild Country combining together. It's a nice little, that's a nice combination. All right, so that was Stirling's Agar. Oop, there goes my razor. About done. I got one more shave with it. I'm kind of hanging on to it, I guess. Before I'll probably get another refill puck. I think they still make it. I have to take a look. But and that was 1983 Black Beauty with Voskhod blades. Works pretty good. I got a nice smooth shave out of this one. And a little bit of aggressiveness on the chin there. You can see how it looks. Lots of scar tissue there. And so I had it on a 4. 4 works great for here, and then I forgot. I need to tone it down on my chin area and the upper lip. Oh well, that's the nature of the beast. It's gonna bite once in a while. All right, so I hope you guys liked this one, and we'll see you in the next one. Rusty out.